taking opinions anymore. They want load tests or other evidence of strength throughout the country. So after a while, the codes don't even matter. The insurance company is saying, if this thing wasn't load tested or other evidence of strength, not just load test, they say we won't take that building. So that's happening as we speak right now. And then at the bottom it says I got to declare on the penalty, I got to sign it as another, or I got to sign it as an engineer. And where's my stamp go? Right there. And by the way, Stu, it says here, did you take this over the phone, by email, or did you go in and inspect the fire escape yourself? So here's how you remove the violations. Until the city official signs on it, even though they did a permit process, until he signs on it and accepts it, it's not closed. So we loop this back around on a pass, back to the guy that wrote the original violation. So you can't skirt the process. Where the violation starts is the final one that signs off, regardless of permit process and sign-offs and all that other stuff. It goes back to process. We clear on that? We're doing good, guys. Page 2. Top of the document. You need to put the address again on there, and you need to put the site inspection date again on there. And again, it repeats itself that this is not a construction control document. Can't be used for permit, and it expires in 30 days. Again, it would repeat. Did it pass? Did it fail? Did it have any life safety issues? We have a simple checkbox system. That is not the inspection. All it is, that's just a little graphic checkbox. Overall, everything stays within poor and fair. Poor and fair, right? But down below, you see, if some of these things have life safety issues, this is a chance for you to do it. We also have some pre-existing lawfully non-conforming issues. All right, so just so you guys know, a fire escape built in 1965, you have to satisfy 1965 codes. There's no forced upgrade ever. Got it? Now, if it was wrong in 1965, you got an upgrade. Now they can go to full upgrade. But a fire escape must be maintained as of the date of installation. 1916, you will meet 1916 code. By the way, the 100-pound rule has been around forever, so there's no like lesser issues. But a lot of the fire escapes cannot be forced into an upgrade, and that sometimes happens. It's in the code. It's called lawfully non-conforming, and that has gone to court. We have a fire escape that we have to show 1965 code on it to say this is lawful in 1965, and you can't force an upgrade here. Now, if there's a change of use, now you've kicked the can open. Now that fire escape has cracked it open. But we're talking about an existing building the way it is, still the way it is, as is the way lawfully non-conforming. You need to check that box. Missing and not applicable. Okay, guys. Question number 1, write little notes now. When I wrote this question, what's it mean? All fabrication, installation, and maintenance of the fire escape is to code and met the industry standard on the date of installation. That's the code, the lawfully non-conforming. I didn't say whether it was a good or bad fire escape that day. Does this fire escape you look at look like the one across the street, or was it built by a witch doctor? That's the only thing you're asking here. Is it built to industry standard as you can see with the visual eye? If the answer is yes, just write that. Yes, it looks like in this building, and if you can't put the date of the building or when you think the fire escape went in. Number 2, there is no pre-existing non-conforming issues requiring HJ approval. Meaning, I get there and I have 24-inch high rails, I have wood, I have electrical wire or electrical pipe as a rail. That's not pre-existing. I have to go back and say, hey, there's some things here that didn't meet the code then, and I need him to give me a decision on what's going on with that. Okay? Well, fire and or building code. Right? All welds passed by visual observation only, unless noted, rebolted, x-rayed, or load tested. So I can pass at this time any weld that I see, because it's just a visual. I didn't x-ray or load test it. Got it? So yes, if a weld looks good, if it looks like it's already bulging and got rust jacking happening in it, I must note here and say no. And there's a little space there for a 1, 2, or 3 word comment. I don't want a big write-up there. This is a pass-fail. The big write-ups come in what's called a repair report for permit, which must be submitted to planning and permit for review. Number 4, overall the fire escape system passes. This is overall. If it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. Just say no, it didn't pass. Not structurally sound and has not been kept painted. That's all you need to write here. Footings. So fire escapes go up only a few ways. You have a fire escape with legs to the ground, you have a fire escape that is embedded into the cement, and you have a fire escape that's primarily wood ones are through bolted back into the building. That's it. So I cover all the components of a fire escape here. So the footings to the ground, You're looking at the foundation at the ground, you're looking at just anything that's related to the footings of this fire escape, they pass or fail. Number 6, this is a wall question, guys. This is not the fire escape itself where it ties in, we'll get to that question. The entire wall of this fire escape system, I'm giving you just a visual opinion that I don't see anything bulging, I don't see any major structural cracks, that's what that question is. 7, supports into masonry wall. That means that you're looking at this and this is one of those cemented and embedded ones. Through bolts, this is primarily in wood, but some masonry buildings have the through bolt and a plate on the inside. Platforms, every platform, whether it's got cement, slats, wood, every platform is covered here, and you want to give an opinion. Did the platform pass? Stair stringers, this is just the 2 sides of a stair. This top clips and this bottom clips, are they both there? You can't have just the top ones and nothing at the bottom. You have to secure, the entire staircase must be secured. Treads and plates and slats. All the treads normally have 8 bolts. 2 side ones, 4 total holding the sides, 4 holding the top on average. They all must have no rust, no internal jacking of any kind. Railings. Every railing on the platform, going down the stairs, on the cantilever, every railing passed on this fire escape. You got to say that here. Again, this is a pass-fail. This is not a repair report where you need to identify the 3rd railing on the top left corner is bad. All the railings passed. The answer is no, some failed, that's it. Just make a little note here saying some of the rails did not pass. I can't load test at this time. Ladders to the roof. By the way, you know, Portlandia over here is the only crazy place where they climb 100. They make these guys climb with the outside of a, nowhere else in the country will they make you climb a 10-story building on the outside so that the owners can just walk the inside of the fire escape. Nowhere. Should they have, you know, the loops around that? The answer is yes. Should there be a simple cable system, and that can be easily retrofitted, where there's a cable on the outside of that rail, so as soon as you get there, you kind of harness up to the cable and you run up the cable that has that, in case you fall, it locks into the cable. I don't know, a lot of the harnesses have that automatic locking thing. Either loop the thing or put a standard cable on this, so as soon as you hit the ladder, because you guys come with your 20-footers, you hit it, you climb up, and that poor soul with 300 pounds, you got to go 100 feet to put a hole in the roof. I wouldn't, I don't. And I'm an inspector, and that's just insane, you know what I'm saying? And I've done that. I've had to climb, we did a tower one time, a radio tower, and I had to climb a ladder on the outside. I was scared to death. And then guess who had to run the first safety line? So in order to run the safety line, I had to go by myself up there first, then I ran a safety line. Crazy. So that, I think that needs to be addressed so that you're the only one in the whole country that makes the guys do. Otherwise, firemen get on the fire escape and go up the stairs. That's it.
That was good for us when we were kids, so we figured.
I'll tell you, it's crazy. Insane. All right, so I'll carry the roof. Roof must be verified, include the attachment into the roof. Balance ladders. Those are the ladders that are not guillotined, you know what I'm saying? It has a cable, has a weight, you let it go, it drops 2 to 3 feet per second and hits the ground. Oh, by the way, oh, this is another problem you guys have here, which you guys did. Oh, I think it's one of the other ones. I'll show you. But basically, you guys have taken all the cantilevers off some of your buildings, and now people land 12 to 15 feet off the ground, and there's no box of parachutes.
12 to 20.
12 to 20 feet. And that's an incomplete fire escape. I can't sign off on that fire escape. It's incomplete. The grade must be the grade. So at least put a thing that says you can put a ladder, the fold-out ladders again, back on, or it must be a cantilever to the ground. But right now, you get there, and you just stand there, and you jump 50 to 20 feet to the ground. And they used as evidence that there was fire escape systems there, but when they were breaking into these buildings, somebody had a great idea of saying, okay, remove. This is just a knee-jerk reaction that happened 20 years ago for people to stop breaking into your buildings downtown that are now worth $1 or $2. And they said, well, you know what, to stop these kids from going in and smoking dope, let's just get these cantilevers down and these ladders down. And you guys had accordion ladders at one time. Yeah, you guys had everything. Guess what? That's a liability waiting to happen, because as soon as somebody falls, breaks their leg, anything happens, that's a quick, your legal department's gonna say, why? We've talked about this already? We haven't fixed this? Because that was an unlawful fix that had nothing to do with code. So it was a code, it was an ordinance that basically broke the code the day it was written.
Portlandia.
Portlandia, well, it's Portlandia code. All right, so guys, let me continue because I don't want to. Want to stay on schedule here? So, cantilevers, well, cantilevers must be balanced. You guys know what a cantilever is? You walk out, I'll show you things where I can walk out 10 to 15 feet and the fire escape will not come down. Whether it's balance on the back or balance on the nose. You know what happens when I get too close to that cable? You know what happened down in Utah, right? So right now I'm telling you that all cantilevers in the rest of non-Portlandia, you walk out, you don't have to walk out, there's a release arm on it. And as soon as you release the seesaw that's perfectly balanced, 2/3 in the front, 1/3 on the back with a weight box on it. She only weighs 25 pounds on the nose, and as soon as you walk through this bar that blocks your passage, and it's on my drawings, we'll show it to you in a second, as soon as you go through that, it automatically pivots, releases, it drops 2 to 3 feet per second, hits the ground and stays down, people self-evacuate. When you show up, it's waiting for you, you don't have to bring any ladders. That's the correct way. And at the same time, because it is a locking mechanism, guess who can't break into your building by throwing up a broom, or throwing up a rope, or throwing up and pulling it down and breaking into the building. It's also a safety device, because you can't twist it because it's upstairs, it's locked in. That's a cantilever. So we talk about cantilevers at this time. Catwalks. Catwalks are part of the code. You must be complete to grade. So if you're walking over a roof and it's wood, you have to have a raised, elevated catwalk system. It's a bridge, it's a metal bridge for the tenants and the firemen to use if they have to cross a fire. At the same time, if the roof is all cement and it's fire rated, then I just need ladders, railings on either side to keep these people from falling off the roof. That's all you have to do. You have to guide them until they hit the ground in a public way, and then guess what? Now go kill yourself. But, was that my inner voice? Outside traffic. Number 17, guys. This is a critical one. All components, doors, windows, function. Meaning, right now, as you're walking through this, you're verifying that the doors look like they are all operational. I didn't say you have to open up every window, but you're looking at it. There's nothing cracked, nothing's twisted, nothing's rotted. You're saying all the doors look like they're feeding this fire escape. Electrical power has to be 10 feet away or it has to be blocked. Because when the guys are blowing water on this electrical 200 amp, 400 amp line coming in next to the fire escape, guess what happens? Right? And if the people are hanging AC units and all this electrical stuff on your fire escape and they're blowing water on it, guess what happens? This is one of the questions. Can they even do that? They did it without your permission anyway. You're going to get it off. Satellite dishes, can they be on fire escapes? Hanging laundry? Bicycles and... Well, that's the next question. Overall, the fire escape is not illuminated due to pre-existing code on date of installation. What's that mean? Today's code, you put an egress out. What do you need? Boop. Old code, what did you not need?
Just
Walk that fire escape on sunlight or moonlight. That's all you get. But does it pass that day? Because it's not illuminated. Did it pass? That old fire escape?
Yes.
Yes, because what you have there is a pre-existing non-conforming issue. Can he force a light on you? Nope.
Nope.
Can he strongly request that in that darkened alley that, put on a light there, please? I highly recommend everybody put a sensor light on all your fire escapes because it's the best deterrent ever. And you make that sensor light near the ladder, near the cantilever, and facing as close to the building so that walking people don't do it. Because as soon as they try to get up on that fire escape and do everything, the light comes on. The only thing better than that, which I saw in New Jersey, the guy had a sensor light connected to his hose. There's a sensor light that if you get any motion, it actually stops the hose. He did that to get rid of cats that came in and kept pooing on his yard. I thought it was the greatest thing, because I'm walking back there, I triggered the sensor, I got a shower of water, I said, what the hell? And so imagine a sprinkler system somewhere, a hose system tied in somewhere so that when the sensor light goes on, you don't get a light, you get a nice spray.
You just hooked that up to the standpipe, right?
Well, yeah, the standpipes, which are all great standpipes right now, yeah. Because they're all testing the standpipes on fire escapes that are perfectly good in Portlandia. So overall the fire escape, overall, number 20, overall the fire escape system has no interior or exterior obstruction. Bicycles, cans, fruits, vegetables, plants, right? 100% clean, right? Unless it has plenty of room, and then sometimes these things are monstrous and they have chairs, but what must they leave at all times?
Access.
Open, clear path. All right, overall the fire escape system has no storage of flammables, meaning propane tanks, lawnmowers, motorcycles underneath the fire escape with full gas tanks. Why? Obvious. The next question now, the fire escape is made up of what? Steel, galvanized steel, aluminum, wood, mixed, other, cement? Gotta write it down here. He wants to know what this thing is made of. Some of them are mixed. 23, the fire escape system is maintained, painted, and sealed. This is the must be kept painted rule. And you say here, yes, it has been kept painted, or no, it has not been kept painted. Got it? The next question is, the owner's been notified of the EPA 2010 that this thing has lead. It's older than 78, presumed to have lead. I don't have to test for lead, it's presumed to have lead. That's what the law says. Okay? And number 25. You know what number 25 is? That's the Portlandia 25. You can make up any rules you want on number 25. Put in things in here that only Portlandia has, such as unicorns and purple dinosaurs.
200-pound load test.
200-pound load test. Well, actually, that's coming later. So guys, this 25 is the catch-all. Awnings that don't have passage. Just any crazy thing that somebody put in a pole or a dance pole, or put a rock underneath the fire escape. Any crazy thing is where 25. That's number 25. Write it in because you want to say that. Other than being a standard fire escape, we found, I got one that's over a beach, guys. You land in the water. I got a fire escape that the final piece is the ocean.
That's Malibu.
No, that's actually Boston, but it's close. Guys, so steps to certification. Let me ask you if this is correct. Prepare report by design professional, all is acceptable, because this is a pass fail, this is not acceptable. Permit by licensed vendor with EPA license, is that all right? Progress, final inspection by design professional or other, is that all right? Submit a final certification by load test, other evidence of strength, or an opinion affidavit with disclaimer. You choose. Repeat every 5 years. Did I break any law here? Okay, so going to the other side. I think these got punched in the order. See the one that says guidelines and procedures? And it has all the codes in there, including the NFPA, the IFC, the technical report, frequently asked questions. You see that? This belongs to the authority having jurisdiction. And I asked Portlandia, I says, hey, we're going to test this the way rational and normal people do. And I was wondering if here in Portland you have any other crazy ways of doing this thing. And you would say, number one, I want a load test. If you're not using other evidence of strength, I want 200 pounds per square foot because it's not standard. I would write, I want you to use stainless steel bolts. I want you to use a special paint. I want you to or not to weld. Whatever comes in, I have to write it here. This goes to the owner. That says, I have spoken with the authority having jurisdiction. This is what he wants. Because there may be other things specific to that building that are above and beyond the standard repair and or load test requirement. That means I've communicated with the guy that's going to accept my document. He knows this is coming. Because now again, this forces me back to speak with who? The authority having jurisdiction, which could be him at the beginning, but it could be the building department in the middle. All these are all the codes known to exist related to the fire escape. All the interpretations are there. Frequently asked questions. What is an inspection? What is a load test? What is other evidence of strength? It's all written there, including the technical documentation. Okay? The next one. Please, I just need you to give me an official document from Portland that says this is what the fire prevention wants, and it's all just spelled out. And it says, here's our local code, backed up by the state code, and then it has all his information down at the bottom. In case you have a question, then they will yell at me when I start saying 50 grand. And when you get that phone call down there, you know what you say? Have you spoken with Stu?
Oh, I do.
That's how you get around. And don't give the general
like,
number, give him the cell number, so they can text him.
Here's his home phone number.
Here's his home phone
Call
number.
it after 9 at night.
And we have this skywriting plane that just writes above his house because he's ignoring you. Guys, there's one more. I think this got stamped in, stapled. It's page number 6, the final rat trap. Everybody please go to the vendor document sheet. And again, it's all the same address at the top. It has all the information, original design and site information date. Top of the thing, it says the vendor who's going to bid this job. What do I need from him? I need all his name, address, and phone number, license numbers, expiration dates, insurances, workers' comp liability, renovator license numbers. I need, in order for you to bid this properly, and this is for the client, because they're going to get 3 to 5 of the bids, which doctors do not need to apply. Got it? The next question says, give me 3 references in the past 3 months, not the past 3 years, of work you've done, so that that owner can go look at a nice job. He has no standards. You have any say on this, who they pick? But if they send you a witch doctor, you're gonna allow a witch doctor?
Not like that.
If a structural engineer or a registered architect looks at this document and they're sending him a witch doctor to do the job, is he gonna sign off on that guy? So this is, again, another mouse trap for rats, not for cats. Okay, so now, once they've done the top part, and this is an express proposal. This is not a real proposal, this is an express proposal. It says the authority having jurisdiction and the design professional and the owner all want the following. They want a business license. They want a construction license, because some of these guys have business license, but they don't have a construction license in this field. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got a business license. What do you call yourself? Oh, best fire escape company in the world. Oh, that's great. Do you have a construction license? What's that? I have a license in it. It's my license. It's called best fire escape company in the world. Yeah, but your construction license, do you have, are you construction, metal, ornamental, welding, steel structures, I-beams? Do you have that license? What's that? Exactly. So, EPA renovator's license, right? Workman's compensation, liability. Because not only are you going to list the owner as an additional insured, the engineer wants the same to be listed as an additional insured. All permits if required, because some work is so minor, there is no permits coming, right? Hey, ready?
Not in Portland yet.
All right,
Sorry.
let's all step outside the world, ready? In anywhere else in the world, right, in the 50 states, if I'm painting a fire escape, I do not need a permit.
Correct.
If I change bolt or bolts on a fire escape on a routine maintenance, no permit required.
Correct.
I will, if I start moving a platform, I start any additions to it, only that piece needs a permit and a stamp. Otherwise, it's all routine maintenance. Correct.
I just want to,
You're the only one. No, you're the only one. You should sit in the front. Right?
just to give you a background, all fire escapes to be certified have to have a permit issued to the city that then gets reflected to the city marshal, and at that time. So we do in the city of Portland have to have a permit to have a fire escape certified.
That's for doing the certification, true. But what he was alluding to there is if you're doing some minor work on it,
Okay.
and you're changing out this bolt is getting exactly.
I.e.
3 bolts in that
maintenance
joint
from the
okay,
building owner
But
itself.
not changing out rivets and stuff.
Right, like for
things
like.
that. But if you're going for the 5-year certification stuff, yeah, that's definitely going through our permit process right now.
You give it a little gray area, which I would exploit, like really big. But in the rest of the country, the problem is it did get out of hand. The witch doctors got in. The $3,000 guys versus the $13,000 guys versus the $33,000 guys, they all quit the business. The engineers, so in Boston, ready? Not Portlandia, almost done here. In Boston, I have a G3 license, and I can repair the old fire escape, and I can sign off on my own work.
Fox watching the
And
headlines.
not pull a permit. Okay, guess who's not my model city? All right, so that's right, that's what happens right now. So I can fix it, and I can say, damn, I did a good job. And the witch doctors are running rampant. And I brought this to the attention of the city officials, and guess what they've done?
Nothing.
There you go. So let's keep going forward. So at the very bottom over here, guys, and we're ready to take a break. And I'll tell you what the next step is. All work, so all permits if required have to be signed off by everybody associated with the process. All work performed by owner agent. Some owners will do self-help, guys. Non-licensed and or uninsured individual, meaning my maintenance guy is going to fix the fire escape for us. May be rejected if not industry standard. Additional fees and documentation may be required in these cases before release of the certification system. Otherwise, the certification may be done at their own risk, meaning an opinion affidavit. So sometimes they come in and they start doing home remedies on these things, and it's not my call anymore. Because when we fill out this incomplete documentation, guess who's not accepting it? Can they go back in? Yeah, they can do whatever they want because we basically tied 2 or 3 people together because this was the perfect storm of stupidity. Right? And then at the very bottom it says here, you're going to fix my fire escape because sometimes you wait so long to get 3 to 5 bids. This is the bid document. So you call, hey Joe, Yeah, I know you're gonna get your computer up and running, give me a really good proposal, but how much? Oh, 18,000, great. Joe, out of that, how much of it was structural? 15,000. Great. How much of that was paint? 3,000. Okay, great. How much of that is structural or load testing? None. Okay. And what are you gonna do? I'm gonna change this bolt, I'm gonna fix that bracket, I'm gonna do the thing. Okay, great. So the owner can kind of fill this in himself, just so that he can look at 3, and then as soon as he finds 3 to 5, he goes, you know, I like 1. Let me use Dion. Guess what you're gonna do? It says right here, a formal proposal contract now must be submitted, because this is the fast track of how do I get 3 to 5 bids. Like this mousetrap so far? Oh, by the way, at the very bottom, guess who has to sign it again? Because as this thing goes through the process, because before it goes to permit, guess who wrote the violation? Guess who's gonna get it all back, because he's gonna, guess the first one to review the repair report, right? Once he gets the repair report and he says, you know, this looks good, they've got this, where must he send it to? In Portlandia. The building. Building is gonna tack on all these fees. King Richard, you know, what's the fees? The fees for looking, the fees for
307.
touching. There's a fee for everything over there, right? And then all of a sudden, when they're done and they do their sign-offs, you know, whatever, what happens? Is it complete? Can he remove? Can they call up on the phone and say, hey, Stu, it's all done. We just finished the documentation there. Can he remove the violation? If he gets a call from the commissioner over there? So once it's all done, he needs to come back and to remove the violation, he must sign it. And it says right at the bottom, hey Stu, did you take this as email, or did they mail it in, or did you do this after your final inspection? So we've circled everything back. We don't care what happens in the building side of it, in order for him to guarantee the safety of his firemen and the tenants of that building, because word is not coming back full circle until he signs off. When does the violation from the building, from the fire department get taken off? When he signs this final piece of paper. Was it load test or what? You don't care whether it's another evidence of strength, or whether it's a load test or an opinion, until you come back and sign the final document, which is page 1. You need your signature on this document now. And it needs to say, how did you receive it? On the counter, or did you go to a final? So it basically puts him at the beginning of the problem, and now you're at the end of the problem. No matter how long it took on that side, you will not remove that violation. They got to bring it back. And everybody's signed, and everybody's sealed. And then there's a new inspection, and they all say, when you pass this fire escape, you set this page, set page 2, and you set page 3, and what's it must all say? Must all say yes, or NA, meaning not applicable at this time. If you have one no in there, can he accept it? And because page 1, he's going to accept it, he's going to say, oh, violation number, permit number, insurances, signs, stamps, my signature, oh my God, it's like writing a mortgage. And who has he just guaranteed the safety of? The tenants. Who else has he guaranteed the safety of?
Fire department for sure.
Fire department. And by the way, there's a new ordinance coming in Portlandia. You know about this one, right? The one that you got. No, there's a new ordinance. In order to help jumpstart this fire escape program, the Fire Escape Reform Act of Portlandia, I don't know if you know that, all rent checks from now must be collected by the owner of the building through the fire escape system on the outside of the window. So you can only collect rent checks through the window. The owner, not an owner agent, the owners of these buildings must go through the fire escape and collect the rent checks by knocking on the window and say, hey, you have my rent? So no longer can the rent be sent in. You have to collect it through the fire escape. You're going to find out about a lot more fire escapes out there that are not so good anymore. And all you have to do is just make sure you put your rent check on the inside of the window, not on the outside. Because believe it, they'll come in the middle of the night and steal it. They got to knock on the window. And if they won't climb the fire escape, you don't have to pay your rent. That's going to work here in Portlandia for that would help. That's going to help a lot of people. So, guys, I'm 5 minutes over. Here's what's happening next. We got an hour and a half to go and do whatever you want to do. Right after that, we're going to meet back here at 1 o'clock, and we're just going to take this class, we're going to close it all up, steal some donuts, take some things home, and we're going to walk outside, and we're just going to take a walk around the block, and anything that we look like at a fire escape, we're just going to get over it, under it, around it, and just talk about it, and apply some of the sciences we just learned here.
This is what we've been hanging on fire escapes, all the hard work that you guys have been doing. This is the end product. And depending on the year that it was, the affidavit was indicating it was done. That's there. The backside, it gets the information written on it, the address, the date it was tested, initial signed off by me, and then the description of which fire escape location it was that we're dealing with. In this one's case, you notice there's an X through it because these don't erase where it means. And this particular fire escape did not get tested. But I was on site with this sign in my possession under the understanding that it had been tested. Somebody's not real happy with that one. It's back in process. So it was an interesting snafu that included a whole bunch of players. Two of the 3 fire escapes got tested.
Well, we'll conclude on that. Seattle wants this on all their fire escapes. So when you're an engineer and you examine, you must leave a yellow or a red tag on it that you pay for. And these can be made in your office and laminated in your office because they're temporary. Whenever you put a white one, this is done by a printing company. It's 1/8 thick white vinyl, and we pay for it, charging the client. We put it up, so the fire department does not pay for any of its signs. We pay for the white signs, the client does. And the sign gets put 7 to 10 feet. So every time you leave a fire escape, you always leave it with 1 of 3 tags. You gotta leave it with a yellow, means it's under repair, 90 days later it'll all get resolved. You leave it with a red, means it's somebody's gonna get hurt on this, and by that time, it's a life safety issue. The building will be visited because they're either gonna vacate or resolve the issue immediately. But when it's white, which these tags don't tell you, you know, they started this in, where's your tag? Is that me?
Oh, sorry.
What happened in Seattle when they did this, people were stealing the tags and putting it on their own fire escape because you don't know what's the address. So these things have to have your address to stop people from stealing them. So, oh, I'm good. I'm just going to have Charlie's fire escape pass. I'll put it on mine. So, you know what I'm saying? They're stealing these. So now, believe me, we've already done this. This rodeo has been gone already. So they have to have the tags 7 to 10 feet off the ground. And by the way, this is what it looks like. This is one of your fire escapes. Oh, why? With a plunge of death. Got it? You got to resolve this. This is a liability for your city. You got to resolve this. But why? This is what it looks like, guys. In Seattle, you're going down an alleyway. These things are 11 by 19, hung on the lowest portion of a fire escape, 7 to 11 feet off the ground. 7 to 10 feet off the ground, permanently attached to the building. And on that, you can see when it was inspected. What's the next inspection date? You don't have to go back to the building and find out if it's been inspected or not. It has who fixed it, license numbers, and the engineers get to advertise that they did what? That they did it. So if the neighbor wants help, they're like, oh, I'm going to call this guy because they did that fire escape right down there, right? And that's what it looks like. These are 8.5 by 11. Got it? End of class. You want to be so let's make it so that we're back here at 1:15.
And we'll take a walk from here.
If anybody has any questions, I'll be here for a little bit longer. If you have cards, you want to give me cards, you want to talk to me, come on down.
Take a long walk.
I know.
Who's using your foot for fire escape inspection? That's that.
One of our other inspectors, he's saying 6'5".
Like anything else, the main part that makes us very unique compared to the others is really the interaction. We kind of crack open the other evidences for any questions. Everybody knows about it. The cat's out of the bag. Now it's just a question is, when you want to take it?
That's very, very elaborate, way beyond. Now, this is 6 years ago when we started.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know who else can do that. Jay called me, so that, the guys I know.
Well, and that's the
These are
key.
just like
The key is,
welders or whatever that
it's a
do.
justifiable
For the
alternate.
one
That has
that
stamps,
they don't work on these
code,
big-
value, things,
I
the
was talking to
mindset's
Mike
changed,
on
because
that.
as long as
On
nobody
what?
has one, that
Ten
is,
story
it's
one,
The
that
McCoy,
one,
the McCoy thing,
The-
just got to be too
just that, it's,
elaborate.
I'm not sure.
well, let me get you off the book that says, I am sure.
Which was extra cost. They also, when I walked them, said.
I'm glad, things went very positive.
Location, use the bathroom.
And so, I know, at the end of this,
We had
some
to-
people come back.
they're looking, just, they want to ask us
It
to
was
bring
a,
somebody.
it was a small.
And, if you wanna go shut off that one down there, and just bring it here, and we'll,
It wasn't the John.
as they say, break the whole thing down.
They were-
I'll be back.
Home mountains of